Hello, my name is Kelly Kelly. Welcome to the NICU Now audio support series. I am a NICU parent to Jackson, a micro-preemie born at 24 weeks, and Lauren, a late-term preemie born at 34 weeks. I am also the founder and executive director of Hand to Hold, a national nonprofit dedicated to providing education, resources, and peer-to-peer support to families that have experienced premature birth, the loss of a baby, or have a child with a special healthcare need. Hand to Hold's NICU Now audio support series was developed to help NICU parents navigate their NICU journey. About 20% of pregnancies require bed rest, which comes to about 700,000 women per year. While any pregnant woman can be prescribed bed rest, it's more likely to occur in a multiple pregnancy. Often women carrying higher order multiples have a greater chance of going on bed rest, have to stay on bed rest for a longer period of time, and have to endure a stricter regime of bed rest than mothers with single pregnancies. In facing bed rest for an extended period of time with limited mobility, it's important for women to find support and methods of coping. To discuss this with us is Crystal Duffy, who was put on bed rest during her second pregnancy with twin girls. Spending that time in the hospital with limited mobility was a challenge to say the least. But she has made the best of it and has used her experience to help other moms who find themselves in similar situations. She has resources for moms of high-risk pregnancies on her website, crystalduffy.net, and her essays on parenting have appeared in Scary Mommy, Mamapedia, Blunt Moms, Twins Magazine, and Woman's World Magazine. She's also the author of an upcoming memoir, Twin to Twin, that details her dramatic story of pregnancy and motherhood. In addition to being a writer, Crystal is also a Spanish teacher, motivational speaker, and serves on the Parent Advisory Board of the NICU of Children's Memorial Hermann Hospital in Houston, Texas. The Parent Advisory Board works to improve the quality of care for parents and families in the NICU. Crystal lives in Houston with her 3 little girls, Abby, Lauren, and Katie, and her husband, Edward. Welcome, Crystal.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, you and I have been trading emails and phone calls for a while. I want you to start by telling us a little bit about your family. I know your first pregnancy, I believe, was full term and no complications. Is that right?
Right. We had our first daughter, Abigail, and we went full term, and she was born at 39 weeks. She was 9.5 pounds. So
oh my goodness.
She was a big girl. I always wonder how much she would have weighed if I would have kept going. But yeah, luckily everything went as it was supposed to. She was a very healthy baby. And then it was 2 years later that we got pregnant with the twins, Katie and Lauren.
And how early in the pregnancy did you know that there were complications?
It was sort of right away. My husband and I had just returned from a trip to Paris, and we found out we were pregnant. And then 7 weeks in, I started bleeding. So I actually thought I was having a miscarriage. So I quickly made an appointment and went to the doctor. And I thought that was the news I was prepared to hear that day, was, that I was having a miscarriage. But to my shock and surprise, my doctor said, no, you're pregnant with twins. So I had to kind of wrap my head around that. But the bleeding was actually a blood clot that almost pulled and terminated the pregnancy. So right from the beginning, at 7 weeks, I was put on sort of moderate bed rest. I was told to, no exercise, take it easy. Like if I didn't have to be up and about, just sort of be, relaxing, which is
right,
hard to
do. Right, but you had a 2-year-old.
I was going to say, yes, it's hard to do when you have a toddler. So I went through about 4 weeks of sort of moderate bed rest. And then when I went back to the doctor, the blood clot had reabsorbed itself into the body, which is what we were praying it would do. And so that first scare was we were past that. So we were very thankful for that.
And then at what point did the complications start that you needed to be on more extensive bed rest?
So I went, about a little bit over a month of sort of, normal pregnancy, anything I needed to get done, errands, getting the nursery ready. We did a quick family vacation. And then it was when we got back from our family vacation, I was 23 weeks pregnant at the time. And I knew something was off because I had been gaining a lot of weight very quickly. I remember in 1 week I gained 8 pounds, and that's when I knew that something was off. So when I went to the doctor, he actually sent me to the perinatologist, which is the high-risk doctor. And as soon as they started my ultrasound, he was able to tell me that we had the twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome, which is a disease that affects the placenta. So basically, one of the babies was receiving too many nutrients and the other baby was being starved. So at that point, we only had one option, and that was to do the surgery, and called the laser ablation surgery. And basically what they do is they go in with a laser and in utero, and they cut all the connecting blood vessels so that the babies are no longer sharing nutrients, and each baby would now have their own placenta and their own amniotic sac. And after that, I was placed on, again, more moderate bed rest. But then it was a week later when I went back for a follow-up that there was more complications from the surgery. And basically what had happened was there was a hole in the inner twin membrane that was placed there kind of on accident by the surgeon. And they said, it's not a big deal. It's probably going to be fine. It's just something we'll monitor. But then one of the babies actually ripped the hole and made it larger. And one baby basically swam across to be with her sister. And so after that, my doctor was like, okay, we can't let you out of our sight. So that's when I was placed on hospital bed rest, and I was 25 weeks at the time.
Well, tell me, what did you think at this point? I know at that point you've been through a lot. You've been, probably holding your breath off and on through all of these doctor's visits and ultrasounds and the surgeries. And now you have to go be in the hospital until the babies are born, and you're at 25 weeks. So potentially a long time on bed rest. Kind of what went through your head?
Well, yeah, it was like you said, I had been holding my breath on and off for so long. So part of me was sort of prepared with this high risk of a pregnancy that I would probably have to go into the hospital. And I felt, definitely that was the best place for me that I could be. The day that I left for the hospital was one of the hardest days of my life. Just saying goodbye to my little girl, and I just remember it just being so difficult, but leaving that day. But as soon as I got to the hospital, I did feel so relieved that, okay, I'm here and I'm being monitored, and this is really the best place for me and my babies. So that kept being my mantra. I just kept telling myself that this is the best place for us for right now.
I know, and then it was surely very difficult. Did you have a extensive family or friends that could support you and your family during that time? How did you make it all work?
I did, and that was one thing I thought that, my husband and I and my daughter are going through this, but I know that if people knew, they would want to help. So I thought, what would be the best way for people to help? And for me, I knew that I would get lonely. And so one of the things I did ask for was I said, hey, if you're able to, come drive to the med center and just spend like an hour with me or something. And as soon as I sent like an email to like my mommy play group, and as soon as I did that, it was sort of like a clarion call to action. Like they made like a schedule and a calendar of like when people could come and visit. And that for me was, it was so just wonderful having visitors. And these were, busy mommies as well. Some of them were expecting themselves, or some of them even brought their toddlers to the hospital. And, but that just made such a difference, just so I wouldn't have to spend every single day, all day, alone. And another thing was my antepartum unit. One of the nurses, she had arranged to have like a meeting, like a group meeting with all of the antepartum moms that were on bed rest. So that was really, really nice and helpful to be able to meet other moms who were in, a similar position as myself. It got a little bit tricky, because nobody's supposed to be walking around. So we could only meet, I think, about once a week. And then, of course, I would get attached to people, and then they would leave, they would give birth, or, so it was always, the group was changing like from week to week. But that was really nice as well, to be able to connect with those moms.
And tell me about kind of your stress or anxiety being in the NICU. You said you knew you were in the right place, but I would have to think that you also knew that there was a high risk for your babies to be in the NICU. So did you take a tour of the NICU to get ready?
I did, yes. I did take a tour of the NICU, and it was very helpful to see that, but at the same time it was very terrifying, because I had never been in the NICU. I had never seen a baby that small before. I didn't even realize in my mind that babies could be born that small. And I know for me, just being there inpatient on bed rest, I started, kind of journaling to kind of get my thoughts out and some of the things that I was feeling. And that definitely helped me sort of process a lot of that stress and anxiety, to just kind of get it out. It was a very sort of cathartic process.
Had you journaled before you went in the hospital, or was this something new that you just thought that would help you with that stress level?
Yeah, no, it was something new. I had never really written before, but yeah, it was something I started. I think it was my mom bought me a journal the day that I went into the hospital, and she said, if you want to write anything down. And I didn't think I would want to write anything down, because I didn't think I would want to remember this time. But then, it just kind of got to be a lot. So I started one day, and I just kept on writing and kept scribbling just thoughts that would come to my mind. And I sort of imagined things that I would do with my girls if I, could move past this.
Excellent. I think that's really smart. I hope that others that are listening, maybe they have the opportunity to do that and to journal. I like those happy thoughts too. I remember there's a great book by Kelly French called Juniper. Kelly and Tom French, they co-wrote it, and I remember it wasn't something she wrote at the time, but it was things she was saying to her baby before the baby went into surgery, like, I can't wait to take you for your first milkshake, and for you to feel the rain and see the sun and all of those things. So I think that's an excellent opportunity for you to kind of visualize what is it going to be like when I'm home with this baby? What are we going to do together? What are we looking forward to? And even putting down the things that you're scared of. I think sometimes just getting them out of our head to quiet our head, and even list of questions to ask the doctor, and things that that need to happen at home, and you can just kind of get it all out of your head and keep it in the journal for others to kind of reminders later.
For me, just in those moments of such darkness, to be able to create something, tangible, something that was sort of creative and that stimulated all those healing in ways that I would have never imagined. It it was something I was very thankful because I feel like sometimes because I was in the hospital, it allowed me to sort of take care of myself and do that journaling and I always think that maybe that wouldn't have happened if I would have been at home, because I would have been chasing after my daughter and not had those moments of, reflection and thinking about everything.
Your hospital had a musical intern. Can you tell me a little bit about that and how did that impact your bed rest?
The hospital did have a musical therapist, and she was an intern, and her one of her projects was she came to our antepartum meetings every week, and she encouraged us to, try to listen to music to calm ourselves down. And it was really nice. She created little mix CDs for us and, just different sounds in nature, like water running, rain, things like that. And then one day she asked us at the meeting, if there's anybody that's interested in writing a song, I can help you, record it and put it to music. And since I had been journaling, I knew that was definitely something that I would want to do. So I worked with her, and, I had never written a song before, and she said, it's okay, just kind of try to organize your thoughts and, try to find a theme, if you will. And so I ended up writing 2 songs during my time there. And the first one was about missing my daughter, Abby, who I had to leave at home to come on bed rest. And so it was about all those feelings that I had the day that I left. And it was sort of explaining to her why I had to leave and what I was doing and the things that we were going to do when I returned, and, including bringing home, 2 baby sisters for her. And then the second song was for the twins, for Katie and Lauren. And that was inspired by a children's book that I read. And it was There's Nobody Like You. And it talks about a little bit about how they were how we traveled such a unique path in our pregnancy and sort of things we had overcome and yeah, again, the things that we were going to do once we moved past everything, the NICU and when we got home and everything.
Excellent. Well, I think that's a wonderful idea. I don't know if all hospitals have musical therapists, but I think that would be excellent for moms on bed rest to ask about or seek out in their community if that exists to help them process some of those emotions. And I definitely want to hear those songs. If you'll share those with us, maybe we can put those on the podcast as well.
So yeah, I know that musical therapists, it's sort of up and coming, and there's more of them. So that's definitely something that I would advocate for each hospital if possible to have. And, it was so important for the antepartum moms. And then, since it was a children's hospital, they obviously worked a lot with, the children that were there, for long, extensive periods of time. And it was so uplifting, to have that music brought in and that, sort of vibrantness in what can be a very, kind of cold and sterile environment.
So tell me, what was it like for your husband? I think your husband's name is Edward, and I'm sure that must have been a lot on him, taking care of the toddler at home and going to work and coming to visit you. And was that stressful for him?
It was, and I have to say, he did such a good job of just kind of making it as sort of light and I guess fun as possible. Like he decorated my hospital room and made it look like a dorm room. So we met in college. So he brought pictures of our daughter and put them up. And I had like a countdown calendar. And I know for me that was huge. Like it was like a ritual. Like every evening after I brushed my teeth before I went to bed, I would like cross off, I completed one more day, in the hospital. And we celebrated, each week as if it was, like a accomplishment, which it was. I mean, to make it to 27, 28 weeks, it was a big deal for us. But yeah, so that was nice. He handled all of that, I think, as best as he could.
Yeah, sometimes I don't think they get the credit and recognition that they deserve in handling all of those things for us. So how many weeks did you end up on bed rest before the twins were delivered?
So I made it 5 weeks, and at 30 weeks, my placenta abrupted, and it was like the weirdest sort of thing, because I woke up one morning and I just didn't feel well. Like, I felt like something was off. I felt really nervous, and I couldn't figure out why. And I called my nurse, and she hooked me up to the monitor, and I was, showing signs of, having contractions. And then the doctor came in, and they had given me magnesium to try to stop the contractions. But I still felt like something was off, and that it was sort of like my gut, my mommy gut was telling me something was off. And I just told him, I sort of advocated for me and the babies, and I said, I think this is the day that the twins are going to be born. And so I like to say that I kind of took a little bit of part in my own healthcare plan that day, because it was sort of a joint decision, and he did decide to go forward and do the C-section. And as soon as he started the surgery, there was a ton of blood everywhere, and it was very apparent right away that something was wrong. So luckily they were able to work very quickly to stop the bleeding and stabilize the bleeding and deliver the babies. And then I remember seeing the first baby, Catherine, and he held her up, and then I sort of took a deep breath, waiting for the second baby, and she was crying very loud. So that was like the best feeling ever. And then I didn't know about any of the other drama that went on until after. So yes, so I guess the three of us are all kind of like miracles. There was a lot going on that day in the OR. Sorry.
Oh my goodness, that is so scary. Well, I am so glad to know that there are 3 miracles. Some of the other challenges were there. In the intro, I talked a little bit about some of the health challenges from bed rest can be not only the stress and anxiety, but there can be weight loss or weight gain. There can be blood clots and other things. Were there any concerns for your health while you were on bed rest?
Yeah, so it was physically challenging, to be sitting in a bed all day and not being able to walk around. And I was only permitted to get up to use the restroom and shower. But then even in the shower, I had a shower chair. So I remember just being able to go to the restroom. It felt like this big freedom. And then at night, I had to wear the pulse socks to sort of, keep circulation flowing. And then it was challenging, I remember, meeting my calorie intake per day. I forget the exact number, but, I had to have a certain amount of calories a day for the twins. And so I just remember that was challenging, just sort of having to sit and have a lot of protein shakes, basically eating or snacking every few hours. And when as the babies get bigger, it's harder because they're pushing down and you get full very easily. But so yeah, that was kind of a challenge as well.
And I also know from some of my friends who've been on bed rest, there was some financial implications as well of them having to be off work and finding care for their other children, and just, it's just very disruptive. And then you have the additional hospital bills. So I'm sure that is playing on mom and dad's mind during that time as well. Can you tell us a little bit of, if you said that your mom's group did make a schedule of people who could come and visit and people who could bring meals and things. Are there any other ideas that you would want to share? What should what should women who are preparing for probably extensive bed rest, what should they ask of their friends to help them pass that time?
I do remember just talking about finances a little bit, both while I was inpatient in the hospital and even in the NICU, was the parking. Oh my gosh, like every day that really added up for a while, because we were visiting the girls, obviously, like every day, sometimes twice a day. It would be like $300 a month in parking, and then meals, because you were eating out at the hospital. So any sort of, support like that, with meals would probably be really helpful, especially for when you're home, but your girls are still in the NICU, because so many parents, are making that trip, going back and forth from home or work to the NICU, and they're not really taking care of themselves that much. So that would be, really helpful to get like a meal train planned in.
So tell us about your girls today.
Well, Katie and Lauren are 3 years old. They attend preschool. They are very spirited and very energetic, happy little girls. Like if you saw them, you would never know that they were preemies and that they had gone through everything. And they love to play with their older sister, Abby. So they're getting to the age now where they all play together, and it's really, really nice. It's a lot of fun seeing them interact with one another and seeing their little interests, take form.
And that's what all the moms that are on bed rest right now are waiting for and hoping for and looking forward to. I know that now that you have some time to give back, you have gotten very involved with your parent advisory committee. Is that the name of the committee that you serve on for? Parent Advisory Board at Children's Memorial Hermann. So could you tell us a little bit, what do you do there? How do you share with them, and how do you support the families in the NICU?
So our board is basically a group of former NICU parents like myself, and there's a few NICU nurses, and we basically partner together we have two main goals. We want to help implement changes to improve the quality of care in the NICU. And the other is we want to create a strong community initiative that supports the family and staff. And we've done, events in the past, like around the holidays. We'll bring dinner or gifts, like we're making gift baskets this year. And we're, with like gift cards and just different things that would be, really nice and helpful for families in the NICU. And we try to also support our NICU nurses, and by showing them some appreciation, we'll bring in some food and drinks as well and put them in the lounge. And as far as implementing changes, we to date have contributed to, I think, 1 or 2 nursing administration projects, 4 different quality improvement projects, and an ongoing research project. And our next project is we'll be helping with a focus group that's going to emphasize transitioning from the NICU to home, so how we can help families make that transition. So it's a really wonderful group, and I'm actually attending a conference this week in Chicago for the Vermont Oxford Network, and there'll be different parent advisory boards from around the country there as well, and as well as like neonatologists and nurses to all, sort of bring together these ideas of how we can improve the quality of care in the NICU for the patients and the families.
And don't forget bed rest as well, improving bed rest, because it really starts there. And I know it impacts your NICU stay as well. If you've already been in the NICU for on bed rest for 5 weeks, and then you're going into the NICU, and you may be there for, 5 more weeks or 10 more weeks or longer. So just really keeping in mind all the trauma that the mother and the father have already been through during that extensive stay. And we believe heavily in peer-to-peer support at Hand to Hold, and we want to match moms who are on bed rest with other moms who have been on bed rest to provide that emotional support and then for them to continue to have that support throughout their NICU journey and even after they take that baby home. So we just really believe that having support from someone else who has been there and understands is really effective.
Absolutely.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to share with our moms that are listening today, those moms that are on bed rest and have found NICU now and are spending some time with us? What would you want them to know?
Just that, especially the moms on bed rest, just it can be very, heart-wrenching and scary, and just live each day one day at a time and think about what you can do and sort of accomplish in that one day to work towards your goal. I mean, our goal is to bring a healthy baby home. So just every day, just think that even though if you're sitting there feeling helpless, just know that you are doing, so much. You're sitting there, incubating, doing the best thing for your baby. And I guess the other thing I would advise would be just to always be an advocate for yourself and your baby. The doctors and nurses know medicine, but, you know your body and your baby better than anyone. So don't be afraid to speak up or ask questions or even ask for an alternative, solution to some problem.
I agree. I mean, you knew the morning you woke up, you knew that something had changed. So I think, you're a great advocate for yourself. First of all, you asked your friends and said, I need visitors. I need people to help me through. And so using your voice and asking for the help and not being too proud to receive help. And then knowing when something wasn't right with the pregnancy and that you knew something was wrong, that you called the doctor and asked for them to take a second look. And because you do know your body, like you said. So I just thank you for making the time and for all the efforts you put now into your writing and into serving on your advisory board so that you're helping other moms who now walk in your shoes. And we're just so glad to know that the twins are healthy and everyone's growing and doing great. So I applaud you on your very successful bed rest and all that has happened and transpired since then. You are an amazing NICU mom.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Well, it was great being here, and happy to share any advice anytime.
All right. Well, we'll look for you on your website and continue to look in magazines for all of your amazing writing. And thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
Thank you so much.
We will put both songs Crystal wrote while on bed rest on our website for you to listen to. But we also want to play one of those songs for you now. This song is called Together Again. Crystal wrote the lyrics, and the music and performance is by Crystal's musical therapist, Hannah Scott.
While I'm away, I'm thinking of you every day. If I could choose, I would not have done things this way. But sometimes things happen in life where we get no say. I must be strong and carry on. I know it won't be this way forever. Soon we will all be together again. Between now and then, I want you to know that I love you, I miss you, I think of you every day. I love you, I miss you, I think of you every day. You are where my dreams are made of. Just can't wait to be back together again. Together again. Since the morning I left, I could not forget your sweet face. The tears were running down all over my face. I had to go on because I knew it was best. I pray that this pain in my heart lets me rest, dreaming of being together again. Between now and then, I want you to know that I love you, I miss you, I think of you every day. I love you, I miss you, I think of you every day. You are where my dreams are made of. Just can't wait to be back, dreaming of you while I'm away, being there to see your sweet face, setting off on adventures, on walks to the park. When you look up at the good night moon, hope that you know that I'll be there soon. I miss you, oh Abby, I miss you. I love you, I miss you, I think of you every day. I love you, I miss you, I think of you every day. You are where my dreams are made of. Just can't wait to be back together again. Together again. While I'm away, I'm thinking of you every day.
In order for NICU babies to thrive after discharge, they need smart, informed parents who understand their needs and are emotionally and physically capable of caring for a medically fragile child. Peer-to-peer support is an effective tool for helping parents navigate their NICU stay. Support from a caring and informed NICU graduate parent helps a new family feel more capable, confident, and ready to face the journey ahead. To request support, volunteer, or donate, please visit our website at handtohold.org.